Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of System Update. Try as I might, I can almost never keep a perfect schedule, despite only having to post once a week. However, now I can be on time with each coming episode. Hopefully. As always, I'll be covering 3 topics related to the world of gaming and my recommended game of the week, so let's jump right into it. The long-awaited Shovel Knight expansion has finally been given an official release date. It is planned to be released on September 17th. The expansion makes a lot of changes to the base game. It is called Plague of Shadows, and it involves the player taking on the role of Plague Knight, one of the bosses from the original game. The DLC will include different gameplay that will have you tossing various potions and bombs at your enemies, rather than assaulting them with a shovel. It will have different enemies, bosses, areas, and achievements, and a modified story to fit the player's role. The DLC has been in development for a long time now. I remember seeing trailers for it like a few months back, but I completely forgot about it until now, when they, are given it a release date. I'm really looking forward to this DLC. Shovel Knight is one of my favorite games of all time, and I would be more than willing to put even more hours into it. Yacht Club Games have already done similar things with Shovel Knight. They had a PlayStation exclusive level that was themed like God of War. They had an Xbox One exclusive level that had Shovel Knight facing off against the Battletoads, and the Nintendo systems had added gameplay functionality utilizing the new amiibos. There's a Shovel Knight amiibo now, and it's awesome. However, Plague of Shadows will be released on all systems on September 17th. Castle Crashers HD for the Xbox One has just been released. The game features new artwork, HD textures, new characters, and it now runs at a beautiful 60 frames per second, and includes a new multiplayer game mode known as Back Off Barbarian. Much like everyone else in the world, I am a big fan of Castle Crashers, and just the behemoth in general. One of my favorite games ever is, Battle Block Theater. And I was more than ecstatic to play this remaster. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is because Behemoth announced that those who own the game on the 360 can get it for free on the Xbox One until September 20th. So, if you own Castle Crashers, you better grab the HD version while you can. However, if you did end up missing out on getting the game free, they also said that after the 21st, the game will be only $5 to those who already owned it, rather than $15, similar to what the next-gen versions of Minecraft did. Plus, if for whatever reason you own the Xbox One and decide you don't want to play the HD version, the original will be part of the Microsoft Backwards Compatibility program. If you have never even played Castle Crashers, this is a great time to start. There's a new HD version and it looks beautiful. I've played a little bit of it and it is very great. So if you've never played Castle Crashers, this is a great time to hop on it. The Pokemon Company announced a new game that they are bringing to the world of Pokemon. It is a mobile game, actually. The game is called Pokemon Go, and the Pokemon Company is teaming up with Niantic Incorporated and, of course, Nintendo to make it happen. The game utilizes cameras on smartphones to view Pokemon who roam the real world. It is a little similar to Niantic's last game, Ingress, which allowed things in your area to transform into quote-unquote portals, and players would compete to control them in the real world. Now, a walk in the park can become a walk in tall grass. You can not only view Pokemon, but you can also catch them, train them, battle with them, and face off other trainers who play the game with your Pokemon. Basically, it is my childhood dreams coming true. Though, of course, the game will get a little ridiculous at times when you think about it. You might end up finding Pokemon in places where Pokemon clearly shouldn't be, because the camera might not recognize that you are at a grocery store and Pikachus usually roam in tall grass and not aisle 4 at our local Costco. Even still, I'm really looking forward to this, and I've always wanted Pokemon in the real world, and I'm sure this is the closest that we're gonna get to that. There's a whole 30-minute video explaining all the functions of the app and all the things I didn't explain, because then this would have been a 30-minute video and I wouldn't want that. So, you can go watch that. I'll leave a link in the description. It is scheduled to be released sometime in 2016. And now for my recommended game of the week. This week I recommend the Dark Souls games. You probably know Dark Souls for its claims of being one of the hardest games of all time. Well, I recently played through both of the games, and yes, the games are truly a test of a gamer's skill. One who hasn't played the games would think that the only attraction to the game is its difficulty. However, after playing both of them, I can say that both the games are truly masterpieces, and not only because of the game's brutal difficulty. The combat is exciting and exhilarating and done just so perfectly. The game's open world is so rich and mysterious, and every area of the game will have your heart pumping. I would compare these games to the original Zelda for the NES, because right away you are thrown into the game without given any direction or instructions on how to do anything or where to go. Rather, the game just sort of says, figure it out. There are many secrets to find throughout the world that are so satisfying to find, and the game encourages exploration and rewards you for taking risks. Another thing I love about the game is that it saves automatically, and it saves all the time, so every decision you make is final and there is no going back. One very important feature of the game is the soul system. Souls are what you use to level up, and they are also your currency. If you die, you lose all the souls you are currently holding, but are given a chance to retrieve them once you respawn. However, if you fail to retrieve them and die again, you lose them forever. This game does a great job of setting the mood and making every area you visit feel hopeless or exciting or depressing. The game also has beautiful music. Most parts of the game don't have music, however, which allows the player to decide how they should feel about the situation rather than having music tell you. The only time music plays is during boss fights and in important areas of the game, like the hub world. Speaking of bosses, the bosses are one of the most important parts of this game. Almost every boss is a challenge, and every boss is unique in some way. In Dark Souls, most bosses will take you a few tries. However, in Dark Souls 2, I found a lot of the bosses a lot easier. I found myself getting a lot of bosses on the first try a lot more in Dark Souls 2 than I did in 1. Which brings me to the next point. I played the games in order of Dark Souls 1 to 2. However, if you are new to the games, I would recommend starting with Dark Souls 2, as it is much easier than the first one. The games take about 25 hours to beat each, but every hour is so worth it. Keep in mind, you will die. A lot. You have to be able to cope with losing from time to time. If you easily get mad with games, I can assure you that you will not have as much of a good time as I did playing the game. That is going to be all for this episode of System Update. I hope you all enjoyed, and please leave feedback in the comment section telling me how I can improve. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and if you want to keep up to date with every upload, then subscribe. See you all next week. Goodbye.